What's going on YouTube? So the tough, rugged, off-road SUV segment has really been popping in recent years, which is why the large automaker from China called BYD has launched a new brand, and I'm standing next to this new product. This is the Formula Leopard. Now this would come, if it was in the US, with a very affordable price tag of about $40,000, but I think you'll be shocked at what is actually included for that kind of price. So, is this a Land Rover for half the price? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is not currently sold in the US. This is a Chinese brand. It is sold in some other markets around the world as well. But we're here in Southern California today because DCar Studio invited us out to check out their collection of some imported Chinese vehicles to give us a really cool first-hand review of this new model that we normally would not have access to. So it's really cool to get this first-hand perspective and give you guys a nice unbiased look at a cool brand. Now I do also want to mention that this is not its full name either. We have kind of translated this to English and simplified it to just Formula Leopard, but I'll put its full name down there at the bottom. Now in terms of the overall aesthetic of this, it definitely has a very heavy Land Rover appearance. Definitely a lot of Defender influence in its overall looks. Very squared off in the front, of course, a nice chunky bumpers through here. In terms of the actual ground clearance, it does actually have an adaptable suspension, so that means you can go up to 12.2 inches of ground clearance. That's quite good as well. And then the lighting, nice boxy look to this, very premium. We have full LED lights for both the low and the high beam. Nice accents on the top and the bottom with a dynamic turn signal indicator, and then fog lights are built in right there. Now moving on to the wheels, we've got the 18-inch alloys on today's model. Nice gloss black finish on board. I think it looks really nice overall with the rest of the vehicle design, including the fact that we've got the matte black squared off wheel surrounds. Now the mirrors, nice and boxy, definitely kind of reminds me of that new GX in terms of the overall shape. They do have blind spot monitoring, and they also power fold.
Now here at the side of the Formula Leopard, this vehicle comes in at an overall vehicle length of about 192 inches long, which does place it very similar to something like a Land Rover Defender 110. And as far as the design, of course, it's very boxy, which, like Drew said, is very popular these days. And then we also have this blacked out piece through here to kind of give you a little bit more contrast, as well as raised roof rails up top. Now, as we head around to the rear design, this is where I really think the Formula Leopard looks quite nice. Now, it does, of course, take some elements from other very off-road capable vehicles, and, overall, I think it looks quite nice. Now, as far as the rear window, we do have a wiper. It's going to be very vertical here, and then our taillights are going to be off to the side. These are going to be full LED taillights, so that includes your accenting, your turn signal, and your reverse light. I like that the turn signal is that amber LED. And then, of course, you can get the option of having a big full-size spare tire integrated here on the back. That, of course, is kind of a signature, off-roading type of thing. And we have illuminated Formula Leopard branding. As we drop down to the lower fascia, we get a very beefy bumper design overall. It's finished in silver. You also have your recovery hooks. Your tow rating comes in at around 5,500 pounds. And when it comes to safety, you are going to get all of those active safety features as standard equipment. But guys, there's a lot of standard equipment on the inside as well, and a lot of luxury. So let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, let's move to the inside. First, we'll look at the key fob. This is a really neat key fob. First of all, very thin, really heavy and high quality feeling. I absolutely love this key fob. Of course, it's a, a smart entry system. You've got remote start, the expected kinds of things. And to get inside, no sensor behind the handle, just press that button there, that will unlock the door. All right, now take a look inside this interior. So if I didn't tell you the price point, you would think this easily would compete with maybe something like a Lexus GX, for example. But this absolutely is much lower priced than that. It's more in line with a 4Runner SR5, you could say. And you're going to get some beautiful things like full Nappa leather seats in this two-tone finish. You got the tan and black. Looks stunning, feels stunning, is very comfortable as well. The seats themselves obviously have power adjustment. They're heated, ventilated, and have massaging abilities as well. But let's go ahead and get inside. Now stepping in is pretty easy. You've got an integrated assist handle right here and running boards that are power deploying. And as we get in here, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of those cabin materials. So over here on our door trim, you've got nice leather-like material that runs all through here, all through the center section and along the top. Little suede insert there for material diversity. Up top, fully finished in the leather. Moving through the center section, again, more of the tan leather material that goes all through here and goes along the sides of the console. Everything in here fits together really nicely. A very solid build quality. I definitely was interested to see this, for the first time, see how the build and the materials stacked up, and I have to say, I'm very impressed here in person. All right, let's fire it up. We've got this red button here in the middle. Now that everything's all booted up, let's look into some individual details. First of all, we've got the digital gauge cluster. This is about 12 inches in terms of the overall design. It does seem to have kind of an anti-glare effect over top of the screen as well. So that's going to help you be able to see it even in bright sunlight when you're perhaps off-roading. And then if you don't want to look down at it at all, you also have a head-up display. Pulling back to the steering wheel, you saw the exterior. You know that this takes a lot of influence from Land Rover, so we have a very Land Rover-esque design. That being said, it is beautiful still with the two-tone finish on the outside edge, leather covering the airbag cover. I love the chunky physical buttons here. It feels great in the hand. In terms of our adjustment, it's manual, tilt, and telescoping. Of course, you have things like steering wheel heating as well. All right, let's turn over here and take a look at interior storage. So if I open up our adjustable armrest here, you'll notice inside we've got a nice refrigerator. You can actually, stick your drinks in there, keep them cold. And this little dial here allows you to set the temperature. You can see that was set to the maximum of -6 Celsius. Now your cup holders have adjustable height. They're nice and big. We've got 2 wireless phone charging pads, which are the 50 watts, so super fast charging, and they're ventilated because they're going to get hot when they charge at that type of speed. I like that detail. We've got a nice pass-through here as well for some additional storage options, and then the passenger gets their own storage shelf. Now, one of the things I appreciate about this model, especially in comparison to some of the other Chinese vehicles we've got to see, is the fact this has a lot of physical controls. So you'll notice you have things like your four-wheel drive controls over here on this side, and then your shifter kind of prominently there in the middle, nice and physical. Just pull down for drive, of course. Press up for reverse. When you go into reverse, we've got a big old 360 camera on board. Resolution, fairly sharp on this. Nice active trajectory as well. You can change some different camera views by clicking over there on the side. We also have support for a 3D view, I believe. I'm not sure why that's not coming up. There we go. I just wasn't pressing all the right combination of buttons there. Now you can see kind of that 3D view, and it also has auto parking abilities as well if you don't want to park yourself. Press that P right there to park the vehicle. And then if you kind of shift your attention over into this area, you'll notice that we've got some buttons for the climate control and also for our audio system. Now this is an 18 speaker sound system. I believe it's called Devilé or something like that. That's what the speaker grill says. Don't quote me on that pronunciation though. Let's give it a sample. Regardless of whatever that sound system is called, it's really good. Certainly fills up the cabin nicely, good bass, good overall quality to the system. Alrighty, so now we'll kind of zero in on this infotainment screen. It's a little over 15 inches in terms of the overall sizing of it, so quite large. That being said, you've got a lot of functions inside of it, which is why it's so big. Down at the bottom, one of the main things is going to be our climate controls. So you can just make some simple adjustments through the climate system. You can also tap there. That's going to bring up the full menu. One of the things I do like is that it has just regular vents on board. You don't have to use the screen or anything to make those types of adjustments. One of the interesting things is that this has a fragrance system, which I certainly did not expect inside of a vehicle like this. And then you also have a visualization where you can control the heated and ventilated seats on all the rows. Now, as far as the system itself, I'm very impressed with the quality of it. It's super fast, really great graphics as well. Right now we're on the home screen, which should be a large map, but obviously we're outside of the home country here, so it doesn't have communication with the Chinese servers at the current time. But I'll click through some other things so I can kind of give you a demonstration of some of the stuff that you can look at. As you can see, really cool kind of visualization of the vehicle. You can get into all these different settings kind of right there easily. If I click that, that's going to pull up all of these apps. So there's just a lot of different things that you can do inside of this vehicle. Drive modes, stuff like that, themes. And then some of the entertainment options can also be seen over here on this side. So this is a about 13-inch passenger display, and this is where you really can get into all those entertainment functions. You can stream basically the Chinese version of YouTube and stuff like that for all your entertainment needs. Now, up top, we have a digital camera rear view mirror system. Sunglass holder right through there. And then if I press back on this, that's going to open up our sunroof and sunshade. As you can see, this is a very large panoramic style unit, and the front panel does open up.
All right, so let's check out the back seats in this Formula Leopard. Now, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised in this area as well. The front is quite impressive, and as far as space is concerned, unfortunately, we don't have those official numbers. Of course, this is not being sold in the U.S., so they haven't created those specs. However, that's why we do things like bring the official Car Confections ruler, because we can see how much knee room there is with Drew's 5'8" driving position. I am 5'9" for reference, and we are sitting at about 8.5 inches of additional knee room. My feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat, and these seats I do find to be really quite comfortable even here in the back. And they do also recline a decent amount, not a ton, but they do recline a little bit. Now, if we fold down the center armrest, there's some extra space in here, nicely felt lined. 2 pop-out cup holders. And then here in the center area, that's where you're going to find quite a few features. So we have all of this nicely leather wrapped. It's going to have some vents inside, and we have physical controls for our 2-stage heated and 2-stage ventilated back seats. So that's certainly nice to have both heating and ventilation in the back. I'm not really sure why the heating is also in the blue color, but that's a little interesting. And then down below that, we have a USB-C port and a USB-A port. The seat itself is also a really cool design. You have extra pockets for extra storage solutions. And then if you look over at the door trim, really nicely done. They have not cheaped out on anything. So leather really from top to bottom, leather all through the center section. Plenty of door storage as well. And now let's go ahead and talk about the cargo area. Now, it is a side opening tailgate solution, so that's a little bit of an interesting thing about this vehicle, very similar to like what we saw in the previous generation Lexus GX and Mercedes G-Wagon, of course. And as far as the cargo space is concerned, we don't have those official numbers yet. However, I can sit here and estimate. We review hundreds of cars every year, and overall it seems to be quite a lot of space. From behind the second row of seats, I would say roughly between 30-ish cubic feet of space, and then if I reach up here and fold them down, unfortunately there are not any handles to fold the seats in the cargo area, so I will have to kind of reach up and do it manually. But when I do that, we are going to find quite a lot of space. I would expect probably 70 to 80 cubic feet of cargo capacity here with those seats folded down, and of course it's very tall because of that boxy overall shape. Now, one of the things we also do in all of our Car Confections reviews is get our tape measure out so we can measure the cargo length, width, and height. I might not be able to provide you the exact cubic feet, but the exact length behind Drew's seating position is sitting at 67 inches of length. From behind the second row seats, it's going to be about 29 inches. Overall width, very good, 42 inches wide, and then the height is where it really is impressive. We're sitting at 36 inches tall, so definitely you can stack up a lot of things, and then underneath of the floor there is also a little bit of additional room. And then shutting up the door, it is quite heavy, so that's something to keep in mind, but it does have a cool soft closing ability, so if you fail to close it, it will just go ahead and suck itself closed. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Formula Leopard. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a bit. As you can see on the screen right now, there's also quite a bit to talk about when it comes to the powertrain experience. We'll additionally be getting things like our sound level reading, but first we need to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
All right. Now it's taking us to 60 miles per hour. So we haven't really talked much about the powertrain at all up to this point. And there really is a lot to discuss because this is a plug-in hybrid powertrain. So what we have is a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, but we also have a dual electric motor system for the EV power side of things. The battery pack is pretty large as well, so it's going to be able to give you quite a bit of pure electric range. But when you work the whole system together, you're looking at 660 horsepower. Yeah,
so as far as some specific numbers here, you have a 32 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack, so that is good for 62 miles on a single charge itself without the engine at all. Now, as far as the full range, if you combine the electric range with the gasoline range as well, you're sitting at 745 miles, so that's really quite impressive. Like Drew said, it has 660 horsepower, 560 pound-feet of torque, and 0 to 60 on this is 4.6 seconds. So that makes it one of the very fastest off-roaders that you can get, outside of things like Mercedes G-Wagon AMG. Very few of them have that level of performance.
Yeah, great just surge of torque off the line as we accelerate there.
Now, as we go over some really big bumps in the road, this road is very, very in bad condition, that's for sure. This is as close as we will get to doing off-roading in the Formula Leopard. We are in a very limited time frame with the vehicle here today, so we can't, take it off-road and do all of the cool things. However, I will mention just a couple of the, off-road specs again. You have a 35-degree approach angle, which is really, really good. That can actually be elevated up to 39 degrees as an approach angle if you raise the hydraulic suspension up, and then you have either a 32-degree departure angle or up to a 35-degree departure angle. So, of course, those numbers do make this very, very off-road capable. Overall, and as far as the ride quality is concerned on that, road right there, you could see we were going over some very big bumps, and typically off-road SUVs do have, that typical body-on-frame experience where you're going to get quite a bit of vibrations entering into the cabin. This Formula Leopard really does seem to do a good job of isolating those bumps out. Even though it does not have an air suspension on board, I am very impressed with how the suspension is handling those bumps. You can feel some of them into the cabin, but overall it's doing a good job of smoothing it out. Now, we've just been cruising around in the hybrid mode so far. You can also toggle it between that and an electric mode, as typical for plug-in hybrid powertrains. And then let's go ahead and talk about our Slam Dunk and Airball. Drew, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
Yeah, so for the Slam Dunk, what we really loved, especially with the interior, yes, this is a very high-tech environment, and it's got a lot of screens and cool things to engage with, but it also has a lot of tactile, nice buttons as well. I like that we have the physical controls. I think they really, are looking towards the right target demographic. Someone who wants to go off-road also wants to have all that stuff right at their fingertips. Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, our Airball is just going to be the lack of overall design uniqueness on the outside. It looks very, similar to things like a Land Rover Defender. There's a few little special design touches, but overall it kind of looks very similar to all the other off-roaders, so we wish they had maybe put a little bit more effort into making it unique looking in this space. All right, and we will quickly try and get a sound level reading, although it is raining. 56.2 decibels is what we were sitting at, going 55 miles per hour in the Formula Leopard. Now, of course, we are in California, and it is also raining, so that's merely just a little bit of a reference point for you as to how quiet this cabin is. I think it's very impressive, though, to have a 56 decibel reading with all these adverse conditions going on the outside. If you're curious as to how it compares to other mid-size off-roaders, you can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. We've tested out a lot of this vehicle's competition, including the Lexus GX. All right, now it's time to talk about pricing. Of course, like we said at the very beginning of this video, this unfortunately is not for sale here in the U.S. Currently, however, it is available in China and other markets around the world. And if you were to translate that into U.S. dollars, you can find one of these for about $31,000. So that is the base price of this Formula Leopard. If you go on the high end, like what we have on today's example, this is a pretty much fully loaded spec. We're sitting at $42,000. So otherwise known in our market as like a base Toyota 4Runner SR5, as Drew said, and about half price off of a Land Rover Defender or Lexus GX Overtrail. Now, if you're looking to buy any new vehicle, we would also encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice price information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the Formula Leopard. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it interesting, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this, and trust us, we don't just cover, vehicles like this. We cover every American vehicle ranging from low end all the way up to extremely high end. So whatever you're looking for, we promise it's on our channel. So do yourself a favor, subscribe down below. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.